Good morning, good morning. Welcome to another episode of the Buckeye Roast. It's your boy Ron James, the best damn media, here with my guy Q Peasky, and we're here with a special guest, our guy Cam Eaton on the show. Good morning.
Little Nutri-Game bar, man.
Good morning. Good morning. What's going on, everybody, man? I can't believe I have to do this, but I blame us for starting a little late. But I got to shout out Punk for the first comment on the show, man. First one in the chat.
I know he spoiled the big surprise. He said wins a prize. That's why Cam's here today. You win a date with Cam next time he's in Columbus. So shout out to Punk, man. Can't wait to see where you guys go. Make sure you post pictures on Instagram. Congratulations. This is our first BDMG giveaway. So Punk has won a date with Cam in Columbus next time he's there. So make sure you guys connect via the DM. Big winner, big winner. But man, we got a ton to talk about today. The Buckeyes are number one in the nation. We play Michigan State this weekend, and the hammer could be coming down from the Big Ten. Where do you guys want to start, Q? You were talking about some Michigan State stuff and some things that you think the Buckeyes need to clean up before the end of the season. So let's just jump in right there. Let us know some of the things that you're concerned about with the Buckeyes with the last three games of the season. I'm not sure how concerned you are with these things going into Michigan State. I watched this same team lose to Rutgers a few weeks ago. I mean, after the performance we just put up against Rutgers, it's clearly not the Rutgers of past, scoring 63 points and them barely being able to score. But seeing Michigan State get put on the hub by Rutgers is a bit concerning. Any concerns going into this game, or is this more of a concern for the team as a whole with championship standards?
Concern for the team as a whole, obviously, it's Michigan State coming up in Minnesota. I'm not too worried about those games, but kind of things in the Docker order for Ohio State to get ready for that Thanksgiving weekend event. So for me, I'll start with this. This weekend, I would love to see not Marvin Harrison Jr., but Zone 6 as a total get going. I felt like they've left a lot to be desired this season, especially with the hype we've come in. Hameka's been out. He's back now, but didn't get, as you said, too involved last week. Obviously, Julian Fleming had a drop, as you pointed out, and we argued about just a couple days ago. Cardinal Tate has looked good in the lineup, but I think as a total, I haven't seen Zone 6 as a unit really be dominant too much in this season. I would love to see that. Another thing, pass rush, man. JT had his game against Penn State, but I would love to see a guy go out and just get 2 sacks and really make his presence felt in the pass rush. I think those two things, especially going up against a Michigan State and Minnesota, are very available to do. So those are a couple things I would like to see us get going. I don't know if Cam, if you got any.
Like you said, you pinpointed on the Zone 6. But we've all known for the entire season that those guys are open. Those guys are making plays. We're just not getting consistency out of the quarterback position. So I know we keep beating this dead horse, but I want to see Kyle put a game together where he's hitting the reads, the offense is flowing, we're clicking, and we look like the Ryan Day offense that we've all come to know. I love the fact that Travion Henderson's come alive with the run game. We were very critical of that. But also, I think this is going to be very, very big deal these next 2 games to get our our young guys in the secondary in, especially with Lathan Ransom being hurt. We've seen Jermaine Matthews come in and make an impact. I need to see Malik Hartford in there a little bit more on some of those younger guys. Maybe some Kai Stokes appearance we saw last week a little bit. We need to get those guys reps because we don't know what the situation is with Lathan Ransom is right now. So I just want to see our younger DBs get in these next 2 games.
Yeah, man, I definitely want to see us get healthy. Like you touched on the defense getting sacks. I mean, do you feel like the defensive line is underperforming? I feel like even without sacks, they're still one of the strongest units on the defense, and I feel like they've been picking up their pressures and their ability to get home these past couple of weeks. Just want to get your thoughts. Do you think that, we've talk about beating a dead horse. I feel like we have this conversation about sacks every week, whether or not is it something that like fans are just looking for in the stat sheet? Because outside of the numbers and the stats, this defensive line is playing out of this world. So is it just like a spoiled fan thing, or do you think that they're going to actually need to get home to be able to win?
Not against Michigan. I mean, not against Michigan State or Minnesota. And I think defensive line has played well. I've gave Tyleek and Mike credit, in the offseason coming into the season. Those guys have been great. I think JT and Jack have been really good in the run game. I just think when you roll into a game like Michigan, you're going to need those game-changing plays. I mean, we can't expect the secondary to always get a pick or create a turnover, because that's kind of what we've been relying on for the most part turnover-wise. I think in those games you would need a strip sack. You're going to need a sack to kind of change momentum, especially times where the offense we know is not consistent. So I just think those things are important. I don't think we got to go out and do crazy numbers, but I would just love to see a guy be like, okay, he's going to be a presence in the game.
Cam?
Yeah, I mean, sacks are important, but I mean, I feel like the pressures is kind of what more important as far as the course of the game goes, because you're knocking that offense off of their rhythm, and the quarterbacks aren't being able to get that time that they're looking for on offense. And I feel like that's something we're elite at. Getting actually to the quarterback is not as important, I'd say. I mean, but I hear what you're saying. We do would like to see that, to just guarantee get downs and get off the field. But we're very good at getting pressures, and that performance of the D-line is also coinciding with the performance of the secondary. So our secondary would not look as great as it is without our D-line getting those pressures. So I think everything's copacetic and working together. So I'm content.
So right now the Buckeyes are battling injuries. It's getting late in the season. We saw the Rutgers have some success in the run game. I mean, they came into the game with the leading rusher in the conference. They had success running the ball on Saturday, but it seemed that a lot of their success was due to how much time the defense spent on the field. Our guy Matt asked the question, or said that the run D is a concern for him. Is it a concern for you guys, or do you think that's just more of an issue with how little the offense was able to possess the ball and the time of possession difference that we saw between Rutgers and Ohio State? Is this something that's more on the offense, or do you think that there are potential flaws in the Buckeyes' run defense?
Cam actually touched on something that I had talked about in the post-game show with Mike. And I don't think it's more of a D-line issue. I think it's when Steel Chambers or the linebackers in general get kind of caught in the mud a little bit. They don't sort through the trash as much as you would want. And I did notice that big time. When you see Steel and Tommy standing next to each other on a run play, that's not good. And there's a hole open somewhere. So it does concern me a little bit. I mean, it's just going to be their offensive line isn't what they were, but they're going to pose a running attack, and we're going to need to be able to sort through those, fill our gaps, and not let what happened last season where we shut them down for the most part. One guy gets out his gap and dude goes for 80. So that concerns me a little bit, but I think this defensive line is solid, and hopefully these linebackers can stay in their gaps.
Cam?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. I feel like the run game issue is more so our linebackers. I mean, they love taking cheese, like any type of counter or a trap or like some or whatever. Like they're doing missteps. They're not triggering in the right direction, and they just get caught out of position. And then that's how you get those 5 yards, like bang plays, every drive, every carry. So. I don't know. But also, I mean, not to toot the horn of Rutgers, bro, but Rutgers is not a trash team. They have the leading rusher in the Big Ten, and the running back that we faced. So, I don't know. We need just better linebacker play. But as far as the D line, I thought the D line was great. I mean, Jim Knowles said in the interview that he felt like we weren't being as gap sound as maybe as we wanted to be. But I don't know. We just need better. We need better linebacker play. Tommy Eichenberg's hurt this week, so do we get a CJ Hicks appearance, or are we just going to roll with Steele and
Cody Simon? I think we see Cody Simon step in and play that Mike position for Tommy this week, despite him being out. I guess this is an example of why Jim Knowles likes both linebackers to call the defense. Steel Chambers with significantly more experience than Cody Simon. So if Steele is able to call the defense on Saturday, I feel like that will be helpful for the defense, especially with Lathan Ransom, who's kind of the quarterback in the back for the safeties, and used to getting everyone in position with him being out too as well. I think having Steele comfortable out there and familiar with the defense will be a plus for the Buckeyes on Saturday. What do you guys think is the most important thing you need to see out of the Buckeyes? I feel like at this point, everyone's staring at the Michigan game on the schedule. That's the only game focused, I would imagine, in the Woody. They're taking it one game at a time, but all fans can think about right now is the Michigan game, and I would imagine they're viewing every game, including Michigan State and Minnesota, through the lens of, can this team beat Michigan? What do you need to see on Saturday to improve your hopes for the Buckeyes beating the team up north on the 25th?
Well, I'll leave Kyle McCord to Cam. I'm sure I'm sure that's number one on the list. But something we touched on Sunday was short tackling. Man, Lathan Ransom is now out. I don't know if he'll be back or not. But yeah, man, there was a lot of just hitting people and not wrapping on Saturday. There was a lot of just bumping people out the way, and then a second or third guy makes the tackle. Without Lathan Ransom, who's one of our best tacklers on defense, guys have got to hit, wrap, twist, and do whatever get guys to the ground. We cannot have double-digit missed tackles, especially going to the Michigan game, because, yeah, you miss a tackle. We've seen what a missed tackle will do in that game. So that is something I will love to see on Saturday.
I feel like we saw a better run game against Rutgers than we're going to see against Michigan, personally. But yeah, I'm with you. The tackling and at the point of contact wasn't there, but also I just think that they got a guy that's going to be playing on Sundays. He was just making plays, and that happens at this level of college football. But what I want to see moving forward, I think is going to be detrimental to us being successful against Michigan, is I think the linebacker play is going to have to get better, because Michigan loves living out of that 12 personnel play action type of deal with the with AJ Barner and Colston Loveland. That's their bread and butter in the pass game. And also they love to use them pulling on blocks for those trap plays that I've been saying our linebackers love to eat the cheese on. So that is going to be the key to us beating Michigan. If we can get a solid game out of our linebackers, I think that we handled them pretty well.
How about you, Ron?
I think it's important that they find a way to get Emeka more involved in the offense. I feel like this can't be the Marvin Harrison Jr. show going forward. It was great to see Travion Henderson step up and get involved in the run game. So having that portion of the offense come back is huge. So I think if Emeka is able to get involved, I feel like it'll open up things for this offense. I don't know how much that relies on Emeka versus Kyle, but I feel like involving more receivers in the pass game is going to be crucial for them going forward. Just like we saw in the Georgia game last year, once Marv went down, the offense slowed a bit. I mean, Emeka was able to step up, but it still just wasn't enough. So it would be interesting to see come this final quarter of the season if Emeka is able to get back to form and do some of the things that we saw him do last year, as well as a guy like Carnell Tate being able to become more involved in the offense, and see if we can see some more explosion from Zone 6 in the offense as a whole. So I'm going to be looking for the pass game to get going there. So outside of Michigan State on Saturday, are there any concerns with the Fighting PJ Flex of Minnesota, or are you guys just dialed in on Michigan right now?
For me, I'm the most part dialed in. I want to see us really focus on the weaknesses in our games, leading up to there, and kind of get those in and get healthy. And I mean, these games, don't go out and BS. We've seen this team come out and BS, especially offense at times. So I don't want to see these slow starts. I want to see kind of us revving up. This is the time in the season where you really got to start to play your best ball. You're going down the stretch. Pretty soon it's going to be conference championship time. It's going to be playoff time. This is where you got to hit all cylinders. You don't want to peak early in the year. This team is going to peak. This is the time where we need to go. The defense is gone. The offense needs to catch up, and special teams has been all over the place at times. So this is what I'm looking forward to, and I don't think Minnesota poses any problems. I just think we need to continue to rev it up and up our game.
Do you think that's a potential trap game, Cam, with the Buckeyes looking ahead to Michigan and everything else going on as far as distractions around this team, program, conference? I feel like there's plenty of distractions and look-ahead games. Do you think the Buckeyes could get tripped up? It's not something we've ever seen Ryan Day do. Only has losses to Michigan in the Big Ten, has not had one of those big letdown games to an unranked opponent. Do you think either one of these teams pose a threat to Ryan Day's perfect record against the Big Ten outside of Michigan?
No, I don't. I mean, I think that there's a potential for the Minnesota game to not look as sexy as we want it to because of their secondary is pretty decent. And we know Ryan Day loves to press to get that pass game going. But, I mean, the formula that we've seen work time and time again so far is running the offense through Travion Henderson running a ball and then setting up play action or first and second down throws to Marvin Harrison seems to be what's keeping Kyle in rhythm the most. So, and also the evolution of Travion Henderson in the pass game, getting him one-on-one in space with the linebackers we've seen for 2 weeks now, him just cook motherfuckers going in and getting in space. So I think it's just everything's fluid with Ryan Day. Like it doesn't seem like our offense just like evolves. Like week 1 and 2, we saw our offense, and then 3 and 4, then 5 and 6. It's just like it seems like we're just always figuring out a different way of what we are, start trying to identify ourselves. And I've never seen a team take this long to do it, but I think we found a formula. So no, I don't see a threat.
Do you guys have score predictions for Saturday? I don't know if we will be live tomorrow, so let's just jump right in and go with our score predictions for Michigan State on Saturday.
I don't know, man. Every time I predict the offensive explosion, it does not happen. I'll go 35-10.
Cam?
I'm gonna go 45-7.
Interesting. I'm gonna go with 34-10 will be my score prediction. I want to ask you guys,
That's the same score.
What?
Homework.
Yeah, exactly. 34-10. So, I wanted to ask you guys. So the Buckeyes have scored 40 points twice this season. Cam predicted the Buckeyes score 40 again on Saturday. They were able to score 63 against Kentucky, 41 against Purdue. Last year, this offense averaged over 40 points a game. Is it concerning how much this offense has taken a dip in their inability to score? Do you think that they're going to be able to get enough points come the playoffs? It seemed like last season we didn't have the defense, and it was going to require offense to go out there and put points on the board. And we saw them come up, 2 points short against Georgia. Do you think the difference in the leap that this defense has taken and the offense has regressed is enough to get it done in the playoffs with the lack of offensive firepower this team has right now?
I'm actually more worried about the lack of production on offense in the Michigan game than I am in the playoffs, because we know Ryan Day, when he gets a month to prepare, he's the best in the country at putting together a game plan. Like, no one outside of maybe really us expected him to go and shred Georgia's defense like that. But every time he's gotten a break, he's done it to defenses. So
except for that whole season break he had before Indiana.
Yeah, so it wasn't ball season, man. But yeah, I'm more worried about it there. Kyle's really got to get it done there, but I feel like in a bowl game setting, even Kyle won't even be able to hold the offense back. But we gotta get to the playoffs, man. We still got much to be concerned. So I think, like Cam said, these next couple of weeks, his offense has to continue this identity it's been going on. I think in the Michigan game, we're going to have to be in the 30s to win that game. There's no way we go into the 20s or teens and win. I cannot see it. So we got to be in the 30s and then just keep it from there.
Yeah, I mean, everyone keeps saying they're worrying about our offense, like scoring and whatnot. I think that the balance of our team is perfectly fine right now. I mean, when I watch other teams play. I mean, we see Washington, they're putting up crazy numbers, but they don't have a defense, right?
Yeah, I hear that, but like, you think it takes a good defense to stop Kyle McCord?
Indiana did.
Well,
that's what I'm saying. So, like, when I hear that these teams don't have a good defense, I don't think in my head, oh, well, then we're just gonna run all over them. Lamar's just gonna fucking get loose. Like, I hear that some of these teams have bad defenses, but me personally, I don't know if we have the offense to take advantage of a good defense. I mean, of a bad defense. I feel like I keep envisioning one of those scenarios. Like when you have a bad defense and your offense just gets rolling, and it's like, well, that's just the type of team we are, and like we're gonna fucking find ways to win with having a bad defense. And I feel like that's something we could potentially see against a team if that has enough offensive firepower.
But we've already seen
Penn
State. It's a good team.
But have we seen a team with offensive firepower?
I mean, Penn State. I mean, look at the points that they average a game outside of us. I mean, they just scored 51 on Maryland and fucking put them on a poster. And if they beat Michigan this weekend, that game looks real weird right now as far as our defense absolutely destroying them. And we beat a top 3 defense, literally scheming them Marv to death.
So, question for you. The top 3 teams in the playoffs right now outside of Ohio State are Michigan, Georgia, and Florida State. Penn State has a better offense than which of those teams?
I don't know. I will say it's. I mean, but bro, we've seen Georgia score 27 points against Auburn. Auburn's not a good football team. We've seen them score 24 points against South Carolina in a dogfight that they could have lost. Like, you act like all these teams are just going in, week out, sparking teams up, bro. Like, I don't understand.
I'm not.
We saw FSU
I'm
get
just saying.
We saw FSU's offense get strapped up by Boston College. So I don't understand why everyone's hyping up like all these teams that we watch have just been super dominant. Bama was in fucking dogfights. Like, everything's fluid. Everything's happening.
The point that I was making was that I think that even if this defense is dominant, that this offense doesn't necessarily guarantee, as currently constructed, doesn't guarantee that they'd be able to take advantage of a bad defense. And I feel like all of those teams we just named have decent defenses and better offenses than Penn State. So while I do think
who were the bad defenses that we played?
That's my point. It doesn't matter whether we're playing a good defense or bad defense. This offense doesn't put up a ton of points.
But I'm saying though, like,
twice the entire season.
The last bad defense that we played, we put up 41 at their house. That was Purdue.
Okay, and we just played. Okay, Rutgers has a good pass defense. Indiana.
Rutgers defense is good. Indiana's week 1. I mean, if you want to go on a week 1 take in week 10, then go ahead. But I don't think that's right.
I mean, I would say the more concern, and obviously our offense is going to light it up. Honestly, there aren't a lot of offenses in the nation outside of really seems like the Pac-12 and Texas, as we've seen a little bit, that really have lit it up week in and week out. The problem is, I don't know if our offense necessarily has that bailout portion. Like, if our defense were, Lathan might be out now. If our defense were to give up some stuff or have not such a great game as we've seen from Jim Knowles at the end of last season, could the offense make up enough ground to still keep us in a game, or be like, oh, we won by scoring instead of won by holding teams down? They haven't showed the ability to really do that all season. So it's like, can it happen? Like, yeah, like Marv could go and take over, but we knew last season going into the playoffs, this offense had a chance to put up 50 against anybody. And we were shocked that they only put up 20 against Michigan. If we go and put up 20 against Michigan this year, no one will be shocked, because that's kind of what we expect from the offense. We don't expect them to take over because they just haven't. So not seeing it yet is a concern, even though we know they could potentially, with all the weapons, have the potential to put up points. Like, we haven't really seen it once.
Yeah, no. That's my biggest concern. I don't know if this team can score even on. I don't know what this team looks like against bad defenses. I don't think any of the teams in the playoffs are going to have bad defenses, and it's going to be. I think all of the offenses that we've seen or that we will see in the playoff could potentially see in the playoffs are better than any of the offenses we've seen thus far. So I think we're going to need to see a leap on offense if this team is going to win a national championship. Before we get at.
I was about to say, and Cam's point, I mean, none of these teams look unbeatable, really. So to his point, like, yeah, these teams can be beat. I haven't seen anybody where I'm like, well,
that's like my point. It's like the same
luck.
concerns you're saying about us. Like, I can see that in all the other teams you're talking about. So it's like, I guess.
I mean, I'm not saying that there's any team that's unbeatable. I was talking from the perspective of the Buckeyes. This team is beatable. All of these teams have defenses that are good enough to stop this offense and have offenses that I think can score on us. Does that mean that the Buckeyes can't beat any of them? No, but I don't think that any of them have matchups that are favorable for the Buckeyes as far as a defense. I don't think any of them have a defense where we say, oh, our offense should be able to take advantage of that defense.
So Western Kentucky, Michigan State, Purdue, I think I mean, if you want to count Indiana, it will be like the trashiest defense that we play. So if we come out and put up a 40-something, 40-50 ball on Michigan State, are you changing your tone? Because they're a trash defense.
No, I think Michigan State stinks.
But you're talking about you don't think that we have the offense to perform against bad defenses.
But I don't think we're going to see a defense as bad as – I don't think we're going to see a Michigan State defense in the playoffs. That's what I'm talking about. Are we talking about the perspective of the regular season or – come the playoffs? Like when we're talking about bad defenses in the playoffs, we're not talking about Michigan. We're not going to see a Michigan State level bad defense in the playoffs. So does putting up points against bad defenses make you think that like a Michigan State that they're going to be able to put it up against a Florida State? Do you think Florida State's defense is worse than Michigan State?
Florida State's defense is not good. I wouldn't say they're worse than Michigan State. I wouldn't say they're worse than Michigan State.
That's what I'm saying.
A coachless team, but what I guess what I'm getting at is like, do you guys feel like we're going to get in the playoffs and get torched, and we're going to need to like put up 40 points to win the game? With our defense?
I'm saying we.
I don't feel like
we haven't scored. Go ahead. You think that we could win a playoff game with scoring under 40 points?
I think it's possible. Yes, with what we've seen this year, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I would say
sure.
Usually, like we go back last year, like no, I've been like, yeah, like offense wins championships in modern college football, but here, not as worried about because every team that pretty much gets in the playoff, whether it's Florida State, Michigan, Georgia, we're going to try to hold teams down to low 30s, high 20s, and make the game winnable. I feel like that's where the game will be played. And if you get 40, you probably won. If you can get the high 30s, you probably won. So I feel like it's a little different register as far as this year goes. As far as last year, I would be like, damn, we all scored 40. It's in trouble because you just can't win a championship that way.
I'm really interested to see what PSU's offense looks like against Michigan this year. I mean, this weekend. I think that'll really give us a better scale of like, was our defense really like that? And Penn State's really a good offensive team, or is everything a little bit slated a little bit? So I'm looking forward to that.
One last question before we get out of here. Big Ten decision looming from Big Ten Commissioner Tony Petitti. Predictions for the punishment for the University of Michigan before we get out of here.
Death sentence. All right, maybe that might be a little bit much. I don't know, man. I don't know. honestly, I have no clue. By the time this punishment actually comes down, I expect Jim Harbaugh to have somehow found his way out of there. He's had trouble getting to the NFL. And I really don't know what the punishment is going to be. I mean, it would have to be very harsh, but also you're messing with Big Ten's money, especially with these new TV deals. So I really don't. I'll leave this to Cam because I don't know what the punishment. I have no clue.
I mean, I'm just following the fucking breadcrumbs. If you listen to their side, apparently they got dirt on everyone and that we've all been cheating and that Ohio State is about to be given a death penalty from crimes that we've done 30 years ago that some PI just dug up within the last week. And then you look at the Big Ten side, they lawyered up a month ago and in preparation to be able to pass down this punishment, which I think will be an indefinite suspension for Jim Harbaugh until the conclusion of the NCAA as well as their OC and DC. So I don't know. We'll see, bro. But one side saying that they got leverage, the other side saying they got leverage. Michigan spent a shit ton of money on a lawyer team that's famous. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the Big Ten proceeds here. It seems like Michigan plans to lawyer up, which is, common for people that are innocent. So good to see
go
that
get the
they did
best
that.
lawyers in America, right?
They sent a 10-page response about how the Big Ten doesn't have the authority to punish them and nothing regarding how they are innocent for cheating. So, I mean, I hope the hammer is brought down on them. They're a bunch of fucking cheaters. Someone said Harbaugh gets suspended. That will be enforced after this week. I would imagine the Big Ten is going to try to shove a big fuck you to Michigan today and prevent Jim Harbaugh from coaching on Saturday. So I would imagine whatever punishment is levied in a way that Michigan does not have time to respond and get Harbaugh on the sidelines for Saturday. It would be fun to see them lose. I would caution everyone to keep an eye out for a holding flag within the first two possessions by Michigan, because if you see one, you can know the fix is in. The Big Ten made the call, and they're going to try to get Michigan the fuck out of the paint on Saturday. So I'd like to see the Big Ten refs with a classic screw job on Saturday and get Michigan out of here, since the Big Ten likely is going to end up in court. I just love how we're supposed to be a conference, and here, instead of we finally start making money, and it's like, what we should do? Waste a bunch of it fucking fighting each other in court. Oh yeah, we got all this money and all this new revenue, and we don't even know how to function like a real fucking conference. It's like, what the first order of business is now that we got all this money? Waste money on lawyers fighting with each other. So they need to get it the fuck together. I don't want to see them continue to fight like this. Is a big fucking waste of money. They're cheaters. They should have been caught. I mean, they got caught. Now live with the consequences. We've had to fire 2 Hall of Fame coaches because of NCAA scandals, and they're crying over this nigga that's never fucking won anything. So we'll see how this plays out, and we will get a decision hopefully later today. I don't think we'll be doing a live reaction if we do get a decision today, but me and Chris Drew will be live at 6 p.m. So maybe we will talk about that on Bleacher Report tonight. So make sure you tap in there in the Ohio State team stream. We appreciate you tuning into the Buckeye Roast. Before we get out of here, Q, let the people know where they can find you.
Well, for that, Gmo brought up an interesting chat. He said OJ was innocent, and he got a good lawyer team. So you never know. They might.
OJ was innocent, and the next time that OJ went to jail, they tried to give him life for stealing his own shit back. Jim Harbaugh has now skated on 1 NCAA violation and still has Hamburger Gate, a fucking level 1 NCAA violation hanging over his head. And this is now the second one, which would be the equivalent to OJ's robbery in Vegas that resulted in 15 years in jail, Gmo. You're a lawyer. You should know this. So I would imagine they're bringing the hammer to them for this.
And we also don't know what the fuck happened with Matt Weiss. So that's another thing.
I'm also disappointed they sent a 10-page paper, not a 600-page paper. Like, come on, man, keep it trending. Let the Big Ten know what's good. But yeah, man, if you want to find me, first of all, I appreciate Cam showing up, man. Buckeye Rose coming through, of course. But if you want to find me, City Boy Quitting on Twitter. Find Josh on Instagram, wherever Ron pops up, I might show up and be around. So
this nigga Q does 2 shows a week with me. Stop the cap. Go ahead.
Yo, you can find me at I Know Things 19 on Twitter. Every Wednesday, 7:30. I'll be on there with Cleveland Mike. On the Fans Edge, you can catch me on Sundays with these mother truckers at 10 a.m. on the OG Buckeye BS.
Yeah, big shout out to Cam for joining us this morning. Appreciate that. First appearance on the Buckeye Roast, so good to have you here. If you missed the Fans Edge last night with Cam and Mike, make sure you check that out. That is out now. We have the Bleacher Report appearance tonight. Not sure what we're talking about. I would imagine previewing the Michigan State game. So me and Chris Drew live at 6 p.m. in the Bleacher Report app. Make sure you tune into that. The college football pregame show on Saturday at 10 a.m. We've been having a bunch of guests on that show. We had B. Moses on there a few weeks ago. We had Steve Kim. Miami fan on last week. Gmo, his big ass hat was on there last week. So plenty of guests on that show. Make sure you tap in. Instant reaction on the Voice of College Football Ohio State channel on Saturday with Mike and Q, and of course the flagship Buckeye BS on Sunday. We appreciate all of you. Oh, Q, you want to answer that?
Oh, what's the next day of the program? I would think right after the Michigan game, before the postseason, me and Christian will put one in there. Obviously, looking forward to the postseason, and we're going to be cussing some people out if they find out a way to lose this game again.
Absolutely, man. Q couldn't even wait to get out of here. He said, "I'm fucking done. You had enough."
Right between the end of the regular season and the playoffs, we'll get one going again. A sober edition.
Boo. Yeah, that's all we have for today. So my mic cut out, man. Fuck this.
I was wondering. I was like, what happened?